Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space, now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Is it going to be? No way. You gotta be kidding me. The rated R superstar! Edge is here!
Sucks there won't be enough fans to get that kind of reaction this year.
Remember when wrestling used to be fun?
Oh, man. Fucking Christ. You know,
it was a year and a global pandemic to make wrestling not fun, but here we are.
Amazing. Hey, start us off with your thing. I want to dive right into something.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, of course, to the War Report podcast brought to you by TagMeADate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for fans of pro wrestling. Follow us on social media at TagMeADate and subscribe to all of our podcast stuff either at TagMeADate or search for the War Report in your favorite podcast app. Go ahead, Steve.
What the fuck happened to the element of surprise?
As soon as I saw the graphic, I knew.
I mean, listen, I'm excited. I'm glad we kind of knew that Edge was going to be back in the Rumble this year, or at least that's always been the rumor. So we just kind of assumed. Right. But what the fuck, man? We couldn't just, have it be a surprise, not say anything. Like the reaction that you heard at the beginning of the show was because nobody fucking knew that Edge was there.
Literally nobody knew. I don't even think the announcers knew until they, you know what I mean? I think it's one of those things that really tight under their hats.
Well, listen, they did the same thing with the Hardys when they made their Royal Rumble return to the point where the New Day didn't even know.
Oh, the WrestleMania one in Orlando?
Yeah. And because they snuck them in, they had them in a trailer. Nobody saw them. They had hoodies on. I mean, it was like to the minute that they were going out, they literally went from the trailer right to Gorilla. And then, but it's like, those are the moments, and like the Rumble's always been one of my favorite shows of the year for those type of moments.
Oh, for sure.
You just fucked up the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be excited when I hear his music and he's going to come out and,
and it's not the same as the genuine.
It's not the same.
Can I tell you something that's even more disappointing? I'll see how you feel about this one. The WWE backstage episode that's airing as the pre-show, they've announced that they are going to reveal the numbers 1 and 2 for both the men's and women's Rumble. And, hold on, one more. They're also announcing the number 30 for the men's Rumble. Why the fuck bother having a Royal Rumble? That's
I don't
the whole point.
I don't want to fucking know. I don't want to know. What the fuck? See, I just don't
How
understand.
do you fuck that up? You can give us number 1 or number 2. Don't give us number 30. There's no reason to watch the middle.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of don't want to know number 2.
I'm not watching.
I mean, listen, even if you want to tell me number 1, like that's gone on for a very long time.
Yes.
Okay, fine. I don't want to number 2. I don't want to know 3. And I damn as sure as hell don't want to know number 30.
As the number goes up, the more you don't want to know.
I mean, come on. You're taking away the whole. Whose idea was this? I mean, fucking Christ! If Patterson's rolling over right now.
Oh, he Vince, what are you doing? You can't tell the number 30. The number 30 is the most important one, Vince. He'd just be mad. He'd be so mad.
I mean, but I will say this to be fair. Hold on. I will say this to be fair. To be fair, there have been times where we have no number 30.
But it's not. That's still. It's not. It's still not exciting.
No. And here's the thing. You can tell me you're not going to watch the pre-show.
But then it's going to be...
You're going to find out beforehand anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
The only reason I thought Edge was out there, I was like, they wouldn't do this and announce Edge in the Rumble. I thought he was going to retire again because he couldn't be in the Rumble. and they held off as long as they could.
Oh no, I knew the whole time this was going to be his announcement going into the Rumble, but
part of me was like, it can't be, because then they'd fuck up the surprise, and then they did it, and they fucked up the surprise.
just when you think they can't fuck any more up, like, but listen, we've also been saying it for a very long time. They're taking away the element of surprise in wrestling for whatever fucking reason. You know what I mean? I just...
Well, that was always a thing. There was a time when Jim Cornette had to get Dennis Coralluzzo and somebody else in a limo together with Paul Heyman, because Coralluzzo didn't get along with Heyman, didn't get whatever. There was a whole thing. And then Cornette and Rock and Roll made a surprise appearance on ECW that night at the arena. And the way Heyman phrased it to Cornette was, well, you always got to have a surprise. And Cornette actually tells his story like shocked at Heyman's theory that you always have to have a surprise in wrestling. And I'm not saying you always have to have a surprise, but they work, and there's a reason they traditionally have worked in wrestling. And the whole draw of the Royal Rumble, if you know the number 1, the story is like, oh man, can this guy survive to number 30? If you know number 30, that's like, it's really, you're starting the movie. You can fast forward through most of it.
Let me ask you this. AJ Styles finally made his debut in the WWE at the Royal Rumble. Do you honestly think the reaction he got would have been the same if we knew a week or two before that he was going to be debuting in the Rumble? That was another one they made damn sure that nobody heard a thing.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
You know what I mean? So it just goes to show you that the element of surprise does work, and it makes it more exciting. That's always been, what you look forward to in the Royal Rumble. What's going to happen? What's going to be the shocker of the match that's going to blow my fucking mind? You know what I mean? And they're taking that away. I hope there is a surprise or two. I was expecting Edge to be one of them. So there goes that fucking surprise. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, folks. Spoiler alert. Yeah, that's but that wasn't the only... Listen, this was not the worst episode of Raw I've ever seen. It was still not fantastic. But
I actually pretty much I did enjoy Raw.
Things that I thought, all right, I'll get into it. There were two segments that went very long and also did kind of the same thing. The women,
you're on a kick of segments going too long lately.
But here's what the women's 6-man tag ended. Commercial break. They restart it. Blah blah blah. Right?
Hold on. I am so fucking glad you started there. That was one part of Raw that I fucking hated.
Yeah,
it started off with Charlotte versus
Shayna
Baszler, right? Which was turning out to be a decent match. They've never had a one-on-one, so that was kind of cool. Then it turned into a 6-man tag. Then it ended with a fucking count-out, which I have to say looked like a total mistake. Like it wasn't supposed to happen. So now we come back from commercial. They restart the match. I agree. When you say a segment went too fucking long, that takes the cake. That we ultimately got 3 women's matches in half an hour. All the same women.
Right. And then just different configurations. And the other thing that I thought was weird, because it was basically the same segment only with the men, was the Sheamus Miz Morrison deal.
Right.
There was a singles match, and then it's like they challenge the babyface to restart the match as a tag match, blah, 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 and then the heels win. Like the whole thing, they happened. So it happened kind of. The babyfaces initially got over in the women's segment, and then restarted and the heels won. And then the babyface got over initially in the Sheamus segment. Sheamus won, and then they restarted, and then Sheamus got beat. It's like, couldn't you just beat Sheamus in the first place? Like you could just beat him. He's not the world champion. I don't know. I would have treated those a little bit differently.
Well, yeah. I mean, it didn't make much sense.
No, I didn't care for either of those. But also, Nia Jax
strikes again.
Strikes.
There was
again.
another close call with Dana Brooke.
Oh, Maron. Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's unbelievable. You know, it's
I
like part of the time you want to be like, all right, cut her a break. It's not that, but it really like is more so than anybody. Like she's gonna hurt somebody bad.
Right. That's that. Well, she did. I think she gave Dana Brooke. She looks like she gave her a freaking concussion.
Yeah, I haven't heard any.
I haven't heard anything about it. Look, I mean, it was a bad landing either way. They had this talk about sending Keith Lee back down to developmental to learn how to work better for the main roster, and they've made none of those attempts with Nia Jax, which I
Yeah,
think is just ridiculous.
Keith Lee wasn't even on Raw.
He's an afterthought now, unfortunately.
I mean, it's a joke.
At least for a while. Maybe they're keeping him off. Maybe they're keeping him underneath until
maybe because he's going to win the Rumble. That was my pick.
Keep him quiet, yeah.
So yeah, although now I'm still sticking with Lee, but Edge.
I feel like Edge because
I'm with you. Your theory is coming together.
That I've had for a while now is that we're getting Randy Orton Edge at WrestleMania, and that the Miz will be the transition between the title going from McIntyre to either Edge or Orton. Initially, I said Edge, but right now, who knows? Because if he wins the Rumble, that he's not going to win the title before that. But Orton could very well win from Miz. Anyway, my theory is Edge Orton at WrestleMania via, for a title via the Miz being a go-between, and the Miz seemed like with the way that he got beat down in that opening segment. With the way WWE books, the guy who gets the heat on him the show before goes over on the pay-per-view. So I feel like McIntyre's going to win, and then Miz is going to cash in and beat him because he's so exhausted from a spear or a jackhammer or whatever else Goldberg can do.
So you're going in that match. You're going with Drew McIntyre.
I think McIntyre wins, or they do the Rollins thing where Goldberg gets hit with a Claymore and then he gets back up and spears Drew McIntyre and they both fall over, and then fucking Miz comes in and cashes in, skull crushing finale on Goldberg and pins him. I don't know, something along those lines. But I feel like there's just either Drew McIntyre is going to beat Goldberg and then Miz is going to cash in, or Miz is going to cash in the middle of that match and there's going to be Miz walks out with the title by the end of that match.
Well, that I agree with.
Yeah, I don't know how it's happening, but I know that's my thought.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about the Royal Rumble, which I really hate that they're releasing the order number and who's, because it's nice to speculate about. Oh yeah, if Keith Lee wins, does he face Drew McIntyre? Does he face somebody else? If Edge wins, is he facing Orton to rematch from last year? There's all the things you can talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we got? When Drew McIntyre said this Sunday at the Royal Rumble, I was like, wait a minute, Playboy. I was like, hold on, the Royal Rumble is this Sunday?
This Sunday, man. The official Road to WrestleMania begins this Sunday. I thought so. Going back to Raw, we also had Asuka, Alexa, which, again, you're not going to hear me say anything negative. I loved everything about the segment. I loved the transition. I loved the transition with Alexa, and then I loved Alexa getting the RKO in the end. And they're doing a great job with Orton's face because he does legit look burnt.
Sunburned Orton over there, yeah. It was pretty funny when he popped up because he was still wearing the mask in the promo.
Right.
And then
well, that was a replayed promo
from a replay of the promo from last week. Okay.
Which the promo you thought went too long, they replayed in full, by the way.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah.
And then they played it a little bit of it again on the little TV on the entertainment center
when Alexa was in her playground.
I still want to put Alexa's playground on the backyard of the Brady Bunch because they have the same grass, the fake carpet grass.
I just love what they're doing with Bliss. I really do. I can't say
enough. The idea that Bliss, when Bliss is scared, when she's not possessed by the Fiend, when she becomes her again, and then she goes back to being possessed, and she's not as, and then she, I get that. they can only do this now. This has an expiration date as soon as live crowds come back. You know what I mean? Like, they can do this for the Thunderdome. They can't consistently do this for Alexa past that. So that has to
Well, but they can always do it that when the crowd comes back, she fully transitions to the
during
the
a commercial.
possessed one
Yeah.
all the time. Like, she doesn't ever go back
Right,
to the
right,
other
right.
one until something dramatic happens and it snaps her out of it or whatever. But I'd be happy with it never ending. So you can't go away me. I can't get enough of it. I really, it's
I would like to point out, though, that what I said was going to happen this week, not the title change, but the cowering in a corner, the champion cowering in the corner, being afraid of the Fiend character, like Seth Rollins was. It was the exact same corner that Seth Rollins was in when he was afraid of the Fiend. Oh my God, it happened again. I don't hate the idea of the Fiend having control over Alexa and all this stuff. I think the little girl stuff is bordering on just kind of creepy, you know.
which is the idea.
No, it's just like it's the pigtails and the nursery rhymes and the voice that she puts on. I not creepy in the scary way, creepy in the like, oh, that's kind of on the like pedophile vibes way. Like,
I love it.
so
I love it.
the hard cuts in the matches kill me every time. I don't dig that. But we'll see. And the no selling. Like, the good thing is
But the no selling was really only when she was being possessed, which makes sense.
Right. Only when she, and they did, I mean, they sacrificed the Asuka lock and some other stuff to the no selling, but then the RKO put her down. She didn't no sell the RKO.
Well, it's also, this is going to sound so bad, but it's also a guy doing an RKO to a woman.
Right.
I know that sounds horrible, but I mean, that's
he's big. I mean, he's bigger. He's heavier.
he's huge compared to her. She's tiny. And let me tell you something. She sold the shit out of it. She did that well. Plus, if you know sell an RKO, that's going to be a massive backstage issue.
Right. She couldn't just do the Undertaker sit up. It would be
right.
It establishes a pattern that when the Fiend got RKO'd, he was laid out, and that's how Randy could light him on fire. So the same thing, she got hit with the RKO, she got laid out in the same way. So there's stuff that I get it. I don't, I can't completely shit on it, but like, oh man, there's that whole, we're going to cut to black and then she's in a different outfit. Like, I don't know.
I love it. I do.
It's so goofy. It's so goofy.
It is goofy. It's very goofy, but I fucking love it. I do. I can't get enough of it. I think it's fantastic.
They had a segment with Rick and Lacey.
Yeah, I was hoping we would forgot about that one.
That was the old
Triple H Trish Stratus. Yeah.
Or the old Billy and Chuck.
Billy
and Chuck one was worse.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I whatever. I don't get it. I don't get it.
The whole women's division right now is just I don't. Is somebody challenging for the Raw Women's title at the Royal Rumble or no?
No, I don't think so.
Right. Okay. So Asuka doesn't have a challenger.
I mean, unless Alexa gets a rematch for the title at the Rumble, and then she does the Rumble match itself also.
Oh, and then Asuka's in the Rumble match because she lost the title, or
right?
Whatever.
Well, and Alexa would be in the Rumble also.
Okay.
Well, actually, I guess she wouldn't have to technically if she's champion, but
right, if you win the championship that night, you wouldn't be in the Rumble. But okay. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to announce that. And then Charlotte is being featured, but she's being featured as a single, but she's in the tag team with Asuka, but they're never in the same room together. You know what I mean? Like what?
And Charlotte's in the Rumble match.
Yeah. Yep. Right. Which is gonna set up Charlotte facing Asuka and beating her at WrestleMania.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we've never seen that before.
Right. It's, well, Charlotte's got to win 16 women's championships.
Well, true.
She's got to be 16-time champion, just like her dad. That's the whole deal.
I don't know, man. I would have rather seen Bianca Belair or, I don't need to see Charlotte Asuka again at WrestleMania. It's going to be a great match. It's going to be WrestleMania caliber type match for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I mean,
the whole draw for me of the Royal Rumble is that the Royal Rumble, the way it's presented, is that all 30 guys have a shot at getting that WrestleMania moment, which means that guys who wouldn't normally get into title eliminator number one contender match type situations can win this match and then make their moment at WrestleMania. Which is why main eventers, whenever like a Triple H or a Charlotte or whoever like that wins a Royal Rumble, I don't love it. I would rather somebody fresh and make that person. Like surviving the Royal Rumble and winning, and then going on to WrestleMania, win or lose, does make them. Winning the title is even better because then you take somebody from the mid card and you elevate them and make a new main event superstar. And then even if they lose the title eventually, whenever their title reign ends, you still have somebody in your pocket as a main eventer. Like The Miz, as undersized and he's not exactly a ring general, whatever, but he main evented a WrestleMania and walked out the world champion and has been the world champion multiple times and had held other titles. So when you need to take a guy like that and move him into a main event spot, like they're doing with the Money in the Bank, they can. Now, here's the other thing. I think the Money in the Bank should go to a fresh guy every year, and instead of like somebody like The Miz who's been there for 20 fucking years. I think it should be a younger guy, but I digress.
I agree.
Take the Rumble. I don't want a main eventer like Charlotte winning the Rumble. It's a long way around to get to a short point. I don't want Charlotte winning the Rumble because she's like John Cena. She can come out and say, I want a title match, and will be granted a title match. She doesn't have to win a spectacular 30-person Rumble and expend all of her energy doing it. You know what? She could just say, I want a title match, and the title match presents itself. Somebody like Bianca Belair can't do that. An underneath person can't do that. So that's why I don't like when main eventers win the Money in the Bank or the Rumble.
I mean, I get that. That makes sense. Was anything else on Raw? I think that was pretty much it, no?
I mean, for a 3-hour show. There was
R-Truth was funny again.
R-Truth, I mean, he's always funny. Then they had him with Riddle, which was just odd. I said that they should be on the either the network or the new Peacock thing as a buddy cop tag team. They could have Riddle and R-Truth as like a buddy team.
I want to, since you brought that up, I wanted to kind of dive into this $1 billion 5-year deal where the network now goes to Peacock. Do you have any idea how this is actually going to work? Let's say you subscribe already to the network. So what? Now I got to pay for Peacock and the network. How's this going to play out? Do you have any idea?
So from what I understand, the WWE network in the United States is going to be absorbed fully into the Peacock app. So on February 24th or whatever the date is, the current version of the WWE network is done. So you're not going to get charged at $9.99 a month or whatever you're paying. That you can't. That service is going to be unavailable. You will not be able to use the WWE network app as we know it.
So you got to start over, basically.
You're going to Peacock. And Peacock is owned by NBC. There are certain cable packages, mine is one of them, that includes Peacock for free. So you might already have it within your cable package.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
In one sense, it's a good thing that you can get it for free. There's also an option to make, because with Peacock, there's like a $4.99 a month and then like a $9.99 a month, and they give you the $4.99 a month one for free with my Comcast package. The $4.99 one has ads. It's kind of like Hulu, and there's tiers.
Right.
So for the WWE Network, what they're saying and what they said part of the information they put out was that for the either what is considered quote unquote free Peacock or the $4.99 a month Peacock, you will get an ad at like the beginning of a pay-per-view or the beginning of whatever you want to stream, and then you'll be able to stream the event. It's the same thing when I go to watch a movie on Peacock. Like I went to watch like Goodfellas or something. It showed me like 2 or 3 ads and then played the whole movie. I guess that's how they kind of sustain that. So there's an option to add and only pay. So if you already get that baseline Peacock with your cable package, you can just pay an extra $5 a month to get no ads on the service. But everything, so it's gonna be, you're gonna be going through and you're gonna go like, oh, The Office, Parks and Rec, every whatever, blah blah blah, this that and the other, WWE, and you're just gonna have to select WWE as one of the options within Peacock. I don't really love that because I know personally, because I know people who worked in this department. First of all, they don't know what's going to happen to the WWE Network department, if they're all going to get fired or switch to different departments, or if they have to work. They don't know what's going to happen. They could very well lose their jobs as of February. But they digitized all this stuff. They put in all the metadata, which is the date of the event, the location. They were so detailed. They made sure that they had the name of the ring announcer, the timekeeper, the announcers, the Spanish announcers, all the people that appeared on the show, whether it was wrestling in a match or appearing as a manager or a valet or appearing in a backstage segment. Even if they were just briefly on screen, you had to catalog where they were, because they wanted to make sure that the information you searched on the WWE Network was correct. When you said, I want to see Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe at the Royal Rumble, you're going to get that match, because those guys spent all that time, guys and girls, spent all that time cataloging all this stuff. And when you went to the matches, like when you were scrolling on the WWE Network and you could skip and it would say beginning of Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, and then you could skip end of Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, and then the next segment would be whatever match was after. You know what I mean? So you could skip through a pay-per-view just by looking at what match was coming up. And that's all the work that they did. And we don't know right now if any of that is going to carry over. That's a problem. If it doesn't carry over, I don't want to say the service is useless. It's less useful than the original WWE app if they can't integrate the ability to search specific, because you used to be able to search specific matches and you could put in, British Bulldog versus Bret Hart, and then you just get all of the matches that WWE has in their archive, 84, 92, whatever date, you just fucking have it, and then you could watch it. So if you can't pull that same data on Peacock, it's you're basically gonna like go to Wikipedia, look up the pay-per-view. You're gonna have to find it online and then go, okay, Peacock, let's go to this pay-per-view and watch it. But you do get essentially, if again, this is all if Peacock is included in your cable package, which it is for me, I'm essentially getting all of the major pay-per-views and the WWE Network for free, no cost to me. So
I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's a positive, as long as they can integrate all of the search functions and skip functions. Like sometimes you want to watch a specific match. Right now, 1992 Royal Rumble, you just put that in. You could go to 1992 Royal Rumble match and just watch Ric Flair enter his number 2 or 3 or whatever it was and go all the way through. If that search function isn't the same, you would have to go to Peacock, go to the WWE tab, go to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and then manually fast forward to the match that you wanted. And
that's annoying.
It wouldn't have the marker, because they have those little red dots that tell you what the matches are along the way. So if it has the chapter markers, I'm fine with it. If it doesn't have the chapter markers, that's when people are going to start to complain about it. But maybe they can fix it. That announcement came a day after, and this is all tied together, believe it or not. The announcement that NBC Sports is ending its existence as a channel and will now exist as a concept within the NBC channels that they are maintaining MSNBC, NBC, USA Network. So what that means is not CBS, NBC Sports or NBC Sports Network or NBC Sports Net, whatever it's called in your country or in your locale, would show Wednesday night, 8 p.m. NHL games. That's the night hockey's been on forever. It's Wednesday nights. Their premiere game goes up at 8 o'clock. And the talk is whenever NBC Sports sunsets and turns off as a channel, the hockey game that is featured on Wednesday nights weekly, every week during the hockey season, will be moved to USA Network. So that means either they move NXT to a different night on USA Network, or they take NXT and they put it on Peacock. Because now WWE as a brand is aligned with NBC as a brand. They're 1-1. WWE is right now under the NBC umbrella for 5 years. So if NBC Sports goes away and they need a channel to show hockey and they choose USA, they can just go, hey, NBC Universal owns USA Network and we own the rights to the hockey, and we own the rights to broadcasting your WWE content. We're going to take your content and move it from cable and move it back to an app. But this time, instead of the WWE Network, so to speak, it will be the WWE tab on Peacock. But we don't know. The whole thing is there because.
But do you want NXT to wind up being now on a streaming service?
But here's the whole reason NBC partnered with WWE is that Peacock, because it's a brand new app that only came out within the last year, they have like I said, they have The Office, they have Parks and Rec, they have whatever your favorite NBC show, television show was that was on Netflix or Hulu or whatever. They've pulled them back to Peacock. You can watch those shows on Peacock, but they need more content. So they acquired the WWE broadcast rights to create content for them. First of all, they're going to take the entire archive, and that's now content with the television and the films that they have. Another offering is this sports entertainment offering of the entire archive of WWE footage. That's a tremendous value. But another tremendous value would be a live program that you can only watch on the Peacock app if you pay $5 a month, or if it's included in your cable package. You see, so they're trying to take these users who maybe had the WWE network and don't have it anymore because now it's part of Peacock, or maybe it's somebody who watches wrestling on USA Network, and they're going to say, okay, now we want to take these watchers. We have regular 700,000 people that watch all of this stuff. We want to take those and monetize them by charging them $5 a month to watch NXT. We know that this is a strong fan base, and if we can get that fan base to pay $5 a month, that's $5 a month times 700,000 regular viewers, and that's your profit. That's the added value of WWE. If they take Raw or NXT off, if the ratings decline for either Raw or NXT on USA Network to a point where it's no longer viable for them to survive as a network television program or a cable television program, they can take that live program and just put it on the Peacock app. And then Wednesday nights, guess what? You got to go to the Peacock app and watch NXT live, or watch it the next day when it's available to stream. They could just, right now, it's not even in the WWE's hands. They have no say in the matter.
I mean, listen, outside of the obvious, the $1 billion, I wonder what possessed them to do it. You know what I mean? Like, to give up all that control and to,
They were making a play to have ESPN acquire the rights, and WWE pay-per-views would have been, and the network would have been part of the ESPN Plus Disney Plus package. That was their initial goal, was to get a deal with ESPN Plus So you could get ESPN Plus is where they have a 5 or 10 year deal in place with the UFC. UFC can only broadcast their live stuff through ESPN channels or the ESPN Plus app. And you have to pay monthly for ESPN Plus and buy a pay-per-view through you still pay, even though you're paying monthly, $5 a month or whatever it is, you're still paying for the cost of a pay-per-view to watch a live UFC pay-per-view. There are free fights on there, and they have the UFC archive. So they wanted to do the same thing, the same business model, and say, okay, if you are a sports fan and you like combat sports and sports entertainment, you get ESPN Plus because you get the UFC's archive, the WWE's archive, and the ability to buy the pay-per-views through the ESPN Plus service. That was what they wanted. And then obviously that would be bundled with the Disney Hulu thing, that whole Disney Plus package. That would have been part of that. Apparently that deal didn't go through with ESPN. And the deal was made with NBC, and NBC seeing here's what NBC saw: content. They see a company that is putting out 10 to 12 hours of original first run broadcast programming every single week, and they've been doing it for 70 years. They see their ability to put NXT UK, all of these other programs that from the network that you wouldn't necessarily see on TV, that NBC would never put on TV, that USA Network would never put on TV. You're seeing them on this Peacock app now. That's what they're thinking about. This is content that they can upload to say, we have 10,000 hours of WWE content or whatever the number is. It's a lot more than that, I'm sure. But they can, that's what they'll say. That's going to be their thing, is that not only does it come with a large chunk of archival content and hours and hours and hours and hours of that, it's coming with 10 to 12 new hours every week. 10 to 12 hours every week times a year, 5,200 hours of program. That's 5,200 hours of program. It's whatever it is. My math is really fucked up, but that's what I'm saying. They get a lot of new, fresh content that they just paid the rights for now. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to hire writers, actors, directors, cameramen, build sets, CGI, special effects, none of it. They don't have to think about writing a fictional drama or a sitcom or anything like that. They can now just have this live. It's the equivalent of sports. That's how they're looking at it. This is the equivalent of being able to broadcast a football or a basketball game, because the production costs for NBC are so much lower because they don't have to hire all that talent. So this for them is just, it's drag and drop. All the content is being produced by this other company, and we've paid them to do that. We don't have to write anything. We're just dropping the content.
Right.
For those of you who might have zoned out during all of that,
Yeah.
I literally went to college for this very subject. Did a lot of research on television broadcast history and ratings and all. So this is right in my. I could have done a whole hour-long podcast just about the Peacock streaming deal, but we'll just stop there. That's if you want a part of a master's level course in television broadcast, go back and rewind for the last 10 minutes. You'll get what you can.
So true.
Oh man. Yeah, other than that, what do we got? AEW.
We do have some AEW.
We got NXT and AEW. The never.
And we have SmackDown.
Oh, and SmackDown. Yeah, SmackDown. Well, this is interesting. SmackDown is on a 3 or 4 week streak of increasing the ratings, even marginally every single week by a couple 100,000 viewers. So this was up 2.2 something million viewers. Something is clicking on SmackDown, whether it's Real Sports or whatever is on Fox or whatever they're showing is a good lead in to SmackDown on Friday nights, or my theory is the show is just better. It's 2 hours instead of 3, and SmackDown just has a better quality than Raw. There's a reason why fewer people, by the tune of 600,000 people more watch SmackDown than they watch Raw now. It used to be completely reversed, where Raw would consistently get more ratings, but now SmackDown's on the rise, and I think it's the 2 hours is a big factor, and then just overall being a better, tighter show.
Yeah, we're always going to say it's just too long.
Yeah, right. And until that changes, that's not going to Raw's ratings aren't going to suddenly start going up. We're not going to suddenly get to the place we were when we did Rock and Hogan, or Mankind and The Rock. This Is Your Life segment, and pulling in 11 million viewers. That's just not, with the way that cable works now. That's not even realistic. And it's measured differently. At this point right now, 11 million viewers on cable is great, is tremendous. But I don't even think there's that many cable boxes out there anymore. You're better off trying to get 10 million, 11 million views on YouTube. And if you look at the WWE's numbers on YouTube, they're fantastic.
So
Wrestling does really well on YouTube.
Right. Listen, I want to jump you for a second here.
Go for it.
While you were talking,
yes,
I downloaded Peacock.
Oh yeah,
and I can tell you, the network's on here already.
Oh,
the Monday Night War, the Best of WWE, WrestleMania Rewind, Untold. That's all I see so far.
Oh, so they already have some stuff set up.
They already started moving some stuff. So, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I want to say it's February 24th is the changeover date. But did you see if you have the Peacock plan as part of your package?
I mean, I just downloaded it, created an account, and it didn't ask me for any money.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I'm assuming.
Did you log in with your cable, like whatever your account email address would have been for cable? Is it the same email that, like, to pay your bill and all that?
It must be.
There you go.
I did a search for WWE Network. Nothing came up. So
WWE.
Yeah, like the network. Like, is it going to be listed as like the, what?
Yeah, I don't know how.
But very interesting.
Yeah, so you're set up now. I have the voice control remote, and I know I can change channels based on the voice control, or like if I want to watch a movie, I'll just say like Lord of the Rings, and it'll show me the Lord of the Rings movies that are available. The cool thing could be, if it's set up properly, and I hit the button on my voice control and I say 1992 Royal Rumble, it's going to start playing the pay-per-view, the 1992 Royal Rumble, by voice command. If it can do that, that's pretty fucking cool.
That is fucking cool.
Because I'll search for a movie by voice command and say, oh, we can watch it on Peacock. And you hit the button and it plays on Peacock. Like, it changes from the cable service, whatever channel you're on, it flips over to the app. So if you have if you on your cable box, and this is for other people, for all of you viewers at home, if you have a cable box that's like a newer one, it's very possible that the app is already installed, or you might need to download the app to your cable box, and then you can rather than going through mobile, your tablet or your phone or your computer, you can just go directly through your cable box to Peacock. A lot of the newer cable boxes have Peacock integrated, so that's another. There's a lot of advantages aside from the $1 billion, but it's also just a weird what's going to happen with this content kind of thing, because we don't know. As long as I'll be satisfied. Like I said, if they're able to just port over everything and you can search and do all that shit, great. If you can't, then whatever. There's the problem.
And are you still going to be doing your 24s, your
right? Are they still going to be,
the Untolds, like all that kind of shit? The round tables.
Shit, they got $1 billion. They could make 1 million of those.
You know what I'm saying? So
I would hope with some of them
ride along. I mean,
right. With the money that they're taking in from this NBC deal, they should be able to continue producing network original programs at a better pace than they've been doing. They're getting more funding. They can pump more in and make, they can make 1 million ride-alongs with this money. Not that they have to make 1 million of them, but you know what I mean? Like, they don't. It always seemed like with WWE network stuff, oh, you get 5 episodes of this, 6 episodes of that. It's like, now you can make a whole season of shit. You just got the money to do it. They could make Now I talked about it earlier. They could make scripted programs. They could take a couple of their guys and go, okay, you're injured, or like you're funny, but you're not a good wrestler. We're just going to make a TV show, and you're going to have like a cooking show, or you're going to have an interview show, or we're going to make a sitcom with a bunch of wrestlers in it, and it's just going to go on the network and a stream on Peacock. Like they could I'm hoping that they do more. Like WWE Films, they could have the WWE Films side of things film a movie, and then it's a Peacock exclusive, and like Batista's in it, or John Cena's in it, or some, whoever you're putting in it to make wrestling fans want to watch a WWE film, and it's on Peacock, where people are going to go, oh, is that John Cena? What movie is he in?
Right.
They can, I don't know. I think there's a lot of opportunity as long as they're able to, uh, as long as this is not just purely grabbing the profit. Because there's a lot of times when projects like this happen, they'll take like 99% of the money and just put it away in the bank for a rainy day, and then trickle out the same amount of content that they're used to doing. Even though they're making more money, production companies will still make about the same amount of content. I would like them to produce more content, because I believe that it's worth more. The
I agree.
up, down is like, I watch that more than I watch the wrestling nowadays for WWE, because it's so easy to just watch Cesaro, Breeze, Xavier Woods, and Adam Cole, and they play Uno. Like literally, they play Uno on the Xbox, and just watching them and their personalities and how they hang out and talk to each other, and then they do the reviews of new video games and stuff. They get to show their personality, and they get to show like their knowledge. Like, I didn't know this. Tyler Breeze is like really knowledgeable about Pokemon cards. And he, like, when he starts talking about them, he gets really technical about like, oh, he knows like the cost of expensive cards off the top of his head, and like, oh, which ones, oh, I'm going to open this pack later. I paid $15 for it, but there could be a $400 card and all this other shit. You know what I mean? Like he gets deep into it, and like there's no reason to show any of that in a wrestling program. That's not going to be on Raw, him talking about Pokemon cards or NXT or whatever.
Right.
But they make a show, and you go, Austin Creed and Tyler Breeze play Pokemon cards. Fuck, I'd watch that shit. It's something to show wrestlers who have a lot of personality. And you have to have a lot of personality to be in the wrestling business, and make that a show. Like Bianca Belair, you could have her do like, remember the 80s, like a Richard Simmons workout?
She could totally do that.
That would be fantastic. And you get new, like, modern artists, modern music, and you set the workout to some modern music, and she, you have a nice set, and it's like Bianca and a bunch of people working out, and she's like leading the workout, but it's all crazy shit, like 5-foot tall box jumps, like all Bianca Belair style workouts, not just cheesy shit. Like she could really, it would be stuff like that. They might not think to produce as just WWE doing the content on their own, but now they've got $1 billion to spend. That's something they could try. Let's see what happens. These ideas are free, but if you want the better one, you gotta pay me. I'll give you the Riddle R-Truth Cop Show for free, but all the other good ideas, you gotta pay for.
So we got about 10 minutes left.
Yes, sir.
What are the official picks for the 2021 Royal Rumble?
Let me get the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble 2021, according to Wikipedia. So we have 5 matches announced. Asuka and Charlotte versus Nia and Shayna for a rematch for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. That tells me that Nia and Shayna are going to win. Asuka and Charlotte will split up, and Charlotte enters the Rumble because she no longer holds any sort of title.
I'll agree with that.
Drew McIntyre Goldberg for the WWE Championship. We talked about it a little bit earlier. My theory is either Drew wins and then The Miz cashes in, or there's a double down. The Miz inserts himself like Seth Rollins did and wins the title. One way or another, I believe The Miz is walking out with the WWE Raw Championship at the end of that night.
I think Goldberg wins.
Ooh.
Miz leaves with the title.
So he cashes in on Goldberg somehow. Okay.
That's kind of how I'm seeing it.
All right. But we're both thinking the same thing, that the Miz is like, after all this thing, the failed cash, he's finally got to cash in, right? Like, I mean, it's
he's not going to fail on the cash in.
Right, but that's what
they were making a big deal about Goldberg's new streak of winning the title matches.
Oh,
so my thinking is he keeps that streak alive, but then still loses the title because the Miz.
I don't hate it.
You know, that's kind of where my thought process is.
Yep. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, last man standing match for the WWE Universal Championship. That's the SmackDown title. I mean,
I think Roman goes over.
Even when Pierce, was it last week or the week before, when Pierce said that he was out due to an injury and he put in Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns had this look in his face like, oh, this fucking guy again. I think everybody had the same reaction. It's like, I love you, Kevin Owens, but goddamn, how many times are you going to lose against Roman Reigns and just keep coming back to lose again? Like, he's not going to win. There's no zero.
And it's a shame because I would be okay with him winning too, but I don't see it.
But I mean, geez, like as they used to say on the Howard Stern show, 0.0.
Zero.
Women's Royal Rumble. I think I said listen, you and I both had the same thought that Bianca Belair far and away was going to win this Royal Rumble. They have a 24 for her and all this other shit. For me, she should win. But
it's going to be Charlotte.
Fucking Charlotte. God damn it.
It's going to wind up being Charlotte and Bianca are going to be the last two.
Oh, no.
And Charlotte will, yeah. No. That's watch. That's how it's going to play.
I hate that you're right.
I know.
You're right.
I kind of hate that I'm right also. But
the men's Royal Rumble match is the last one. We have 17 entrants have been declared so far. That's pretty fucked up. 12 of the entrants have been declared for the women's match. Apparently, Nia, Charlotte, Bianca, Bailey, Mandy, Dana, Peyton, Alexa, Shayna, Liv, Ruby, Tamina are all been announced. Who gives a shit?
Are the Bellas going to make their return at the Rumble?
You never fucking know, man. You never fucking know.
That's two slots right there.
They said they wanted to work with one of them wanted to work with Bianca Belair, so maybe.
Well, and then Nikki apparently pitched an idea to be a part of creative, which I think is a horrible idea.
I don't think they should be booking the show.
So going back to the men's, I'm torn because I want to go with my gut, which is Keith Lee.
Yeah.
But if it's not Keith Lee, it's got to be Edge.
So here's the thing. We get announced for the Rumble, as I said, 17 men. We have Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke Nakamura, Big E, John Morrison, Sheamus, Mustafa Ali, and Edge. Oh, we completely skipped the Retribution segment this week because who gives a fuck? Sorry.
Seriously, who cares?
The guy wrestled in basketball shorts. I don't give a shit. Sorry, Shane. Shane Thorne in his stupid hockey mask. He wears a hockey mask and basketball shorts. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's all you need to know about this fucking guy. He wrestles in a hockey mask and basketball shorts. It don't make no sense, boss. All right.
Moving on.
So out of those 17 guys, you know who I didn't say? Keith Lee. So I don't know if he is being saved as a surprise entrant or they've left him off the Rumble somehow. I thought you were getting a gun to shoot yourself. I'm sorry. When I saw that going across the screen, I was like, oh no, he's really going to do
it. If Keith Lee, unless he's hurt, if he's not in this Rumble, I'm going to be real pissed on that following Tuesday show.
His absence.
I mean, I haven't heard anything about injury. So I'm hoping they're just saving him for the Rumble. I mean, listen, Braun Strowman's going to show up.
I think so.
I mean, he looks incredible right now. So he's ready.
You know who's not showing up? Brock Lesnar.
It doesn't sound like it.
There will be no Brock this year.
Although that would be one of those pop moments if they kept that a surprise.
Yeah.
Are we missing any other matches? Are we missing any other matches?
They only announced 5. And the Rumble, with 2 Rumbles, there's not going to be a lot of
So they may add Asuka Alexa Bliss for the title as a rematch.
They already have the women's tag team match, so I don't think they're going to make Asuka.
Well, if Charlotte's going to do double duty, why can't Asuka?
Fair enough. Maybe they, I don't put, I can't put it past them. You're right. And Asuka could work double duty. Who gives a shit?
She could. She's capable.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of time open on this Rumble. So there might be some good surprises along the way. We might have a good conversation on Tuesday. Because
one of my favorite pay-per-views, and the Rumble match.
Mine too.
I love the Rumble match. I can't hate on the Rumble match. Last year, the Brock thing went a little too long. It went like 5 more guys than it should have. It's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, but it was great when Keith Lee came out and they zoom in and you can visibly look at Brock looking at Paul Heyman and being like, who the fuck is this guy?
He liked it. He liked that a lot. Yeah.
He's like, oh, big boy.
That was fun. So yeah, Royal Rumble match is always a good time. I mean, there have been a few matches, a few Rumbles that stunk, but I don't think there are very many of them. Yeah, I'm always optimistic about the Royal Rumble going well. So
it's hard to fuck up the Rumble.
Well, it's our first one without Pat Patterson, so we'll see what happens.
Hence why we're finding out 1, 2, and 30.
He was the fucking genius. If he was still alive, one phone call to Vince would fix all this. Yeah, he was the master. Even I know guys who work for the WWE that didn't necessarily have a great opinion of the way things were booked in WWE. But the one person they never really said anything bad about
was Pat Patterson.
You know what? The first thing they would say, aside from I love Pat Patterson, was he put together every Rumble and he was the best at doing it.
Yeah.
He had a vision for what 30 threads are all tangled up, and he was able to take those 30 threads and make them individual strands and make a beautiful story. So we'll see what happens with whoever is booking the Rumble this year. But I'm remaining optimistic. Royal Rumble. It's going to be exciting. The Rumble's always exciting.
The Fiend's going to show up. The Fiend's got to show up.
Like Super Tramp. We're going to have a Super Fiend.
So it's going to be like Super Shredder.
Yes.
That'll be interesting. So we'll see. I have faith. And on that, we have reached the top of the hour.
He will have shoulder pads like Super Shredder with spikes on them. That's my hope.
That would be amazing. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Super Fiend with spikes on it. Let's do it. All right, guys. Good show. It would have been nice to get everybody's opinion on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view coming up, but maybe on Tuesday we'll have better luck and we'll get everybody else on the show. That look from Steve says it all. As much as I like the Steve and Vince show, I feel like this should be a different night. We should have the War Report for everybody, and then we could have us doing another show. That's fine.
It's starting to feel that way. That's a couple weeks in a row. You know, Eric's on sleeping pills. Kat's got appointments. Sam's got a new baby, so it's
and is Canadian. We try not to hold it against her.
Big Heck, drops in when he can.
Yes,
so who knows? I have a good feeling about next week after the Rumble. I think everyone's going to want to come on and have their opinions. So if real life doesn't get in the way, I'm sure all will be gravy.
For sure. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this week, huh?
That's a wrap for me.
Wow. All right. Well, that flew by. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you are just watching now or a relatively new viewer, please do us a favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just search for Tag Me a Date, or the War Report. You'll find it on YouTube. It's the Tag Me a Date channel. So subscribe, hit the bell. Twitch.tv/War Report is our Twitch. Most of our social media, such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, etc., is at Tag Me a Date. That's the easiest way to find us. At Tag Me a Date, you'll find all of the information you need about the show and also live streams for the show. The video live streams go up Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. If you're on Facebook, you can comment on the live stream and we'll show your comment on air and address it. Just be sure to tune in and you can watch that archive after the stream has ended. Or if you prefer an audio only version, we've got podcasts available on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, and Google Play Podcasts. Again, you search for Tag Me a Date or The War Report. It's going to bring you right to it. Just hit the subscribe button. And then on Wednesdays, the audio version will be delivered right to your mobile device. So that'll do it for us this week on the latest edition of The War Report. We'll be right back next week to review the Royal Rumble and the fallout from the Royal Rumble, Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week.